eat it, nail it.
Let's test these grill hacks!
Hack your way to a better, faster, cheaper way of life.
Jam a quarter into a watermelon and get to the Kian.
New season, Hack My Life, premieres May 6th, Mondays, 8:35 p.m. on Warner TV.
South America has a lot of ounces in the ground, but it's not for the faint of heart.
You really don't feel good.
What are you gonna do, man?
I'm genuinely sick.
Gold Rush Parker's Trail starts Thursday 8:30 on Discovery.
Hello, I'm Rex Litter with the Midday News. After walking part of the Kokoda Trail over the 2 days, Prime Minister James Marape has indicated his government's commitment to develop the trail across central and northern provinces in a bid to harness and enhance the tourism potential of the iconic Kokoda Trail. This development aims to improve the livelihood of local communities while maintaining the authenticity of the trail experience. His recent walk from Kokoda to Isurava with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has reinforced the significant opportunities that lie along the trail. Marape has come to appreciate the kind gesture and hospitality provided to trekkers by the people of both Oro and Central living along the trek, and said this has led him to look at plans to elevate this leading tourism product in the country. A series of improvements are slated for implementation in collaboration with other stakeholders. Some of these include the need for modern enhancements, particularly in sanitation and the establishment of communication towers to ensure internet access throughout the trail. The Prime Minister remains focused on balancing modern amenities with the trail's historic and cultural essence. Prime Minister James Marape has accepted an invitation to attend the Pacific Islands Leaders Meeting, or PAM10, in Tokyo from July 16th to 18th, 2024. The invitation was extended by Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and delivered by his special advisor, Hitotaka Ishihara. During the summit, PM Marape plans to discuss the involvement of Japanese contractors in the Papua LNG project and enhance Japanese participation in PNG's LNG sector. He also expressed gratitude for Japan's ongoing developmental support. Evedahana Junior High School, located just outside Port Moresby, has a new computer lab, thanks to BSB Financial Group. BSB Gordon's Commercial Centre and Waigani Drive branches refurbished the lab under BSB's community project at the cost of 60,000 kina, inclusive of 10 new computers. This upgrade, which revitalizes a space unused for the last decade, will significantly enhance IT education for both students and teachers, especially following the school's elevation to a junior high school. Deputy Headmaster Pauline Cavora expressed her gratitude for the support. UNICEF-PNG Country Representative Dr. Claudius Kamenga says the celebration of the World Immunization Week is a reaffirmation of a commitment to one of humanity's most extraordinary achievements, and that is vaccines. Dr. Kamenga was speaking at the celebration event yesterday in Port Moresby. He says the introduction of vaccines has served and improved the lives of many. Demand for Pacific Islands seasonal workers is fading after a post-COVID boom in numbers, and backpackers might be taking their place. New figures from the Development Policy Centre show a 10% drop in demand. About 3,000 workers in agriculture sector during the 9 months to February. Recruiters and the industry body representing fruit and vegetables growers also report a decline in employers seeking Pacific Islands seasonal workers. The centre says one season for the change might be a new rule, starting in July, requiring workers to receive at least 30 hours of work each week. Researchers at the Peter Doherty Institute in Melbourne have uncovered a new method of developing influenza B vaccines, offering promising targets for universal immunization methods.
Melbourne, in the very lab where this breakthrough has been made, and with me is one of the key researchers who helped make that breakthrough, Professor Catherine Kajewska. Professor, it's obviously very hard to explain such a specific breakthrough in layman's terms, but what have you discovered here in this lab?
In our study, we identified parts of influenza B viruses that our immune system consistently recognizes, and with this we provide new knowledge into the rational design of long-lasting influenza vaccines.
And I think that's the key thing, isn't it, here, long-lasting, which you don't often get with the influenza vaccine, having to get it year after year. There's been a lot of words thrown around about just how significant this breakthrough is. How significant would you describe it?
Well, we think our study is very significant because we identified those parts of the virus that remained unchanged throughout the virus history, and they also trigger very strong T-cell responses. And we know that T-cell responses predominantly recognize those unchanged, very conserved parts of the virus, and that's why provide long-lasting immunity even when the virus mutates and the new viral variants emerge.
And so ideally, obviously there's a lot of work yet to go before we get to something like a universal flu vaccine, but what are the next steps from here, and where do you hope to end up?
So we really hope that those fragments from influenza B viruses can be included in a new T-cell vaccine that would obviously reduce the severity of infections and deaths, especially in children, and ameliorate the impact of annual influenza epidemics.
And speaking of annual influenza epidemics, we are right at the start of this year's flu season here in Australia. We saw last year one that was particularly bad for children. How are you feeling at the start, and what's your message at the start of this season? So
it's really hard to predict how the influenza season will look like, but what's important, it's really important to highlight that the current influenza vaccines are still the best way to combat the annual epidemics and to get the annual vaccination to protect ourselves and those at high risk of severe influenza disease.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. It's Professor Catherine Kajewska here at the Doherty Institute in Melbourne. A very topical discovery at the start of the flu season, but certainly a message there that for now, the best thing you can do is get the jab each year.
Police are piecing together the events that led to a 17-year-old girl allegedly stabbing her 10-year-old sister to death near Newcastle. The older girl faced court today, charged with domestic violence-related murder.
An unimaginable situation for any parent. One daughter killed, allegedly by another.
My thoughts again go out to a mother who's at home, having lost a 10-year-old to tragically lost her life, and now has her other daughters facing court, allegedly responsible for killing the 10-year-old.
The young girl died at a home in Lake Macquarie on Monday afternoon after suffering multiple stab wounds. Her 17-year-old sister was arrested and charged with murder.
We will allege that she was responsible, solely responsible, for the death of the 10-year-old.
It's a pretty quiet area, and so we're still pretty shocked about it all.
It's really sad, terribly sad.
Police say the family wasn't known to them.
There are no records of police being involved with this family previously for matters such as this.
And they're piecing together how this could have happened.
There's no indications from what the information we have at the moment to indicate why this occurred. This is completely one of those incidents that's happened, as far as we know, completely out of the blue.
The 17-year-old wasn't present in the children's court when the case was briefly mentioned. No bail application was made and the matter has been adjourned until June.
Support services have been offered to the family.
There's a family at home who are still grieving, trying to come to terms with what happened to their 10-year-old family member and their loved one.
An unthinkable loss with no clear explanation.
In sports, Leigh Tennis Club has completed round 5 of its competition and will head into finals starting this evening. Barocco Motors has been a strong team in Division A throughout the tournament, winning all its group matches through the finals. In the Group B competition, Paradise Garment sits comfortable atop the ladder and is heading into the finals in great form. Chemica, who also has been impressive, will give them a good run for their money in the finals. President of the Leigh Tennis Club, Glenn Kabasug, told this newsroom, rain has caused them troubles with their final schedule. He is hopeful that the weather improves so they can get the semi-finals completed this evening. And that's been our news update. Do join us for more news and sports at 6 p.m.